Since you guys seem to enjoy the videos about Franklin before he met Michael and Trevor before he met Michael, I said why not complete the trio and look at what Michael Townley's life was like before he met Trevor. Michael was born in either 1965 or 1968, somewhere in the Midwest, maybe even in the state of North Yankton. Unlike his own kids, he grew up without the many luxuries and privileges that they had. Instead, he grew up in a trailer park. Michael's father was a heavy alcoholic who abandoned him at a very young age. Soon after, Michael's mother also abandoned him, and Michael was told various reasons and stories behind his father leaving him, some of which were that he simply left town, or got hit by a train, or even that he joined the Navy. Michael was in his late teens a good football player, so good in fact that he had sometimes seen his own picture in the local newspaper. What prevented him from pursuing football professionally, however, were constant injuries, but more importantly, his temper issues. After quitting football, Michael turned to a life of crime, and he committed his first robbery in 1988 in Carcer City, where he managed to walk away with $10,000. We also know that by the time Michael was 20, he was already in prison 2 times. In prison, he learned how to use a tattoo gun, which he demonstrated by tattooing his own name on his cellmate's ass. Pretty weird, but we'll move on. Oh yeah, and he tattooed a dick on Laszlo during that one mission. So, okay, things are getting weird. Let's just move on. While in prison, or even after prison, Michael started working with an expert heist planner named Lester Crest, with whom Michael became good friends with over the years. This next part is conflicting, as the GTA Wiki claims that Michael and Trevor met in 1991. However, Trevor claims that he met Michael before Michael met his wife Amanda, and Michael had his daughter Tracy in 1991. So I believe that Michael met Trevor in either 1989 or maybe 1990. What is known that Michael and Trevor met while smuggling cargo between Canada and the US. While Trevor was only expecting one guy, turns out that 2 people turned up as Michael carjacked the guy Trevor was supposed to meet originally. Trevor, being Trevor, shot a flare gun into the other guy's eye, after which him and Michael had to drop his body into a lake. And Trevor also recalls that after this whole incident, the plane never smelled the same, and that both him and Michael threw up after the incident. Michael, after he realized that him and Trevor worked great as a team, brought him into the operation. Also, if you're enjoying this video right now, please leave a like on it and subscribe to the YouTube channel, as we are trying to get to 1,500 subscribers by the end of this year. And Trevor, who at the time also just was discharged from the Air Force and had no direction in life, would go along with Michael. And Michael, Lester, and Trevor would go on a decade-long robbing spree across the United States Midwest. While Trevor constantly says that he misses the old days, Michael is not as fond of those days as Trevor is. As he recalls, they would constantly have to keep moving and skip town all the time and be on the run from the law. However, for this, both Michael and Trevor are to blame, because ultimately what caused them to have to keep moving all the time is that either Trevor would kill someone in the middle of the day, or Michael, who would constantly quote Solomon Richards movies, both of which drew more attention to the crew. By the early 2000s, they were already known as America's Most Wanted heist crew. Michael met his future wife Amanda, presumably in 1991, and soon after expanded his criminal ventures, eventually running a prostitution racket. And after a few months, Michael and Amanda got married, and as said, they had their first child Tracy in 1991 and their second child Jimmy in 1993. They all lived in a trailer park in the Midwest, again possibly in the state of North Yankton, and while Trevor liked Michael's family and even was very protective towards them all, he saw that Michael was quote-unquote going soft. Michael, who wanted to spend more time with his family, now started to get fed up with Trevor constantly causing chaos, and was understandably even worried that one day he might hurt him or his family just because of how unpredictable Trevor was. While unclear when exactly this next part happened, we do know that Trevor at some point met a local crook named Brad Snyder, and he brought him into the crew. However, by this point, tensions were high within the crew, as Michael and Lester never really liked Brad, and it was mutual, as Brad never really liked or trusted Michael nor Lester. And also, I'd like to mention that Trevor and Lester never really tolerated each other, so there was also that. Brad even wanted to cut off Michael and probably Lester and continue with only him and Trevor as a duo, but Trevor viewed Michael as his best friend by this point already, and he was completely against that idea. He ultimately shut Brad down when he recommended that to Trevor. Either in 2004 or maybe 2003, Michael met a corrupt FIB agent, Dave Norton, and made an off-the-books, under-the-table, whatever you want to call it, deal to get rid of Michael's crew and to have Michael be able to leave the heist life and retire. And in exchange, Dave would get the glory of killing America's most wanted criminal known as Michael Townley. And we also know that Michael would pay Dave at least $10,000 every month after the deal was done. And as we know, Michael pitched the job in Ludendorff, North Yankton to the crew as the easiest money they will ever make. And everyone was on board with the job except Lester, who wanted nothing to do with that job. And like I always say in these kind of videos, the rest is pretty much history. And with that said, I want to thank you for watching this video. Leave a like on the video again and subscribe to the YouTube channel as it helps me out a ton. Until the next video stream, bye bye.